Now it's recording. I'm sorry for that. Yani we should start recording from the beginning. I will go through about talking about what we have talked about at the beginning. The title was How to Write a Thesis Introduction. There are three moves or three steps that we should follow when we write an introduction for a thesis. The first one, we should establish, we should state what is the topic is about. Then we should show why there needs to be a further research on the topic, what is the importance of the topic, and then we should introduce the current research. And then we talked about the hypothesis, the problem of the study, the research questions, the objectives of the study, etc. Now, the stages in writing a thesis, first of all, if you remember, we said that we should start talking about the topic generally. We may introduce our topic by two to three sentences, 2 to 3 general sentences talking about the aim of the study, the importance of the study. We use this information as a kind of a background information. Now, we should provide a literature of the review related to the topic. We may add, as I said, we should provide definitions for the terms and the scope of the topic, for example. What do you mean by the concepts or the definition of a certain concept? We have to go back to our title, the title of our thesis. And in this title, we may have certain terms. These terms should be defined in the introduction. For example, machine translation, adaptation, let's say CAT tools, for example, localization, software localization, game localization, etc. These terms should be defined in the introduction. Also, we should outline the current situation. What is the current situation is about here. Then we should evaluate the current situation. Now, we talked about the advantages and the disadvantages of the current situation. Imagine we are talking about CAT tools, the use of CAT tools in translating legal documents, for example. First of all, we should talk about the advantages of using CAT tools in let's say legal documents in general. It will save time, effort, money, for example, and it will help the translator to provide a consistent translation because the translator will use the same concepts, the same translation for the same concepts all over the document, for example. This is what do we call it, the consistency of terms. And this is an advantage, by the way. This is an advantage, by the way. However, disadvantages, you may talk about the disadvantages. Some translators will rely 100% on this translation without human intervention, without making a revision, let's say, for this translation. So yeah, this could be a kind of disadvantages. Yeah. Now, let's talk about the next one here. Now, we have identified the importance of the proposed research. So what is the important, why this research is important, for example? Why this research is important? Now, we should convince our readers, this research is important because it is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. If you remember regarding the problems of the study and the hypotheses, there should be a separate in a separate section. You should start the problem of the study, and you should include the hypothesis within this section, within the problem of the study. Another section will have the objectives of the study, the aims of the, another one will have the aims of the study, another one will have the questions of the study, etc. But if you include all of them in the introduction, this will be okay. But the outline that we are working on at Yarmouk University here, you have to have them as separate. The introduction, after the introduction, you have to have the purpose of the study, the objectives of the study, sorry, the problem of the study, the purpose of the study, significance of the study, the questions of the study, the significance of the study, etc. Regarding the outline of the thesis, you may have it as a separate chapter, as a separate section into your introduction. After mentioning this information, you may have a section called the outline of the thesis. You may talk about, let's say, chapter 1 covers the introduction, the problem of the study, the significance, the questions, etc. Chapter 2 covers literature review, empirical studies, theoretical studies, etc. Chapter 3 covers methodology, data collection, data analysis, the theoretical framework, etc., and so on. Regarding the methodology, we said that you may include it within your introduction, but what should we do here? We have to have it as a separate chapter, and it should be chapter 3 in the thesis. Okay, now let's go to a real example here. Evaluation of boron solid source diffusion for high efficiency silicon solar cells, a school of photovoltaic and renewable energy. This is just an example, general example. It doesn't relate to translation, but we can take it an example if we'd like to apply or to do similar thing in the future for translation. Now, stage 1, sample sentence extract, completion introduction in 4 pages. Give background about the topic. P-type layers are commonly used in solar cells as they offer a wide range of applications, etc. Now, and I'm afraid we have some, let's say, difficult terminology here. So I will provide you with a real example from translation studies. This will be easier. This will be easier. Give me a second. Give me a second. I will open this for you. All right. Stop sharing. Okay. Look at the title of this thesis here. Issues and strategies of subtitling cultural references, Harry Potter movies into Arabic. So this is the title of the study. Issues, problems, challenges, and strategies of subtitling cultural references, Harry Potter movies into Arabic. This thesis has been done by Ahmad Al-Tahiri, or Tahiri, Al-Tahiri, Ahmad Al-Tahiri, in 2013. Okay, this is the introduction, focus of the study. So in the introduction, we should talk about the focus of the study. Now look at this introduction here. And by the way, it is about three pages, no more than 3 pages. 2, 3. That's it. This is the introduction. Now let's read the introduction together and try to understand how this introduction was written in a world that is growing. Let me remember you. We said that when we start our introduction, we should talk about we should write 2 to 3 or 4 sentences about the topic in a general way. About the topic in a general way in order to introduce our readers to the main topic. Look here. in a world that is growing in unity from a social, cultural, and linguistic point of view, mass media and mass communication in general are becoming more relevant to an appropriate understanding of the various cultural identities. Look at this sentence here. This is what? This is a general sentence, right? Now look at the title here. Issues and strategies of supplying cultural references. Harry Potter movies. Now we start talking about what? Oh, the author start talking about the topic in a general way. Now look at the second sentence here. New technological developments in mass media and communication devices here, such as digital television and DVD technology, are bound to overcome the borders among the countries by what is already widely known as audio-visual translation. Look, audio-visual translation. احنا بنحكي عن ايش هنا؟ subtitling. فهو حكى عن ايش الآن؟ بلش يقدم في التوبيك بشكل عام. حكى بشكل عام عن الميديا والماس كوميونيكيشن، بعدين حكى عن الديجيتال تلفزيون والدي في دي تكنولوجي، بعدين بلش يحكي لنا وين الجمله الثانيه. لاحظ ما زال انه في عموميه يا جماعه، واضح؟ يعني we are talking, the author is talking in a general way about the topic. He is trying to introduce his topic to us. Now look at sentence number 3 here. In many countries, adults, children, and adolescents in particular spend many hours watching the screen rather than any other activity such as reading, especially since the spread of satellite. لاحظ انه here another what? General, but less general. We have more general, less general, and less general information in the introduction. Look here. In recent years, more information are transferred and presented in different types of audiovisual formats, such as movies in DVD format. And the interface between technologies, language, culture is increasing rapidly as well. The popularity of television and DVDs encouraged many scholars, researchers, and even governments to seriously consider the use of this medium as a means to deliver certain message to the. This is the importance of the study. He's talking about, he's introducing the topic, and he's talking about the importance of this topic, of the current situation here. He's talking, look at this sentence here. In recent years, this is the current situation. Now here, this is the advantages of the current situation. If you remember, we said that we have general information, then the current situation, and then we talked about the advantages or disadvantages of the current situation, and then we should start talking about the importance of our topic here. Thus, consider the use of this medium as a means to deliver certain message to the viewers. Now, thus the audiovisual material is by nature a vehicle to transfer thoughts. Audiovisual material is a vehicle to transfer thoughts and ideas, and it is a means to reflect the producer's language, culture, and aims. Okay, so this is the advantages of the current situation. Now look at the next paragraph here. Many consider audiovisual translation. Now this term is new. We should provide the definition of terms, right? Consider audiovisual translation, AVT, as one of the most challenging forms of translation encountered these days, and its problems cannot be reduced to the questions of grammar, lexis, or semantic structure. Again, this is the current situation. This is the current here. The current situation, the advantages here. This is the current situation, the disadvantages here. This is the disadvantage. This is due to the fact that it is one of the most widely used forms of translation, and it is more readily accessible as within the context of film. The film is a mirror. Now, the context of film. Yeah, this is a concept. We need to talk about this. The film is a mirror of the culture. He'd like to support his thought here. the film is a mirror of the culture which it unfolds along with the materials, attitudes, and in tones of its screenplay. Author and director all conveyed through the language and visual images which serve as their vehicle, etc. Now, this is a direct quotation here to support his thought. Look here, AVT started to gain the ground also. He's talking about the importance now again of the current situation, the importance of our thesis, of his thesis. AVT started to gain ground within the field of translation studies in 1990s and recent year as well. Translation studies, Gambier. He has a quote from Gambier. Translation studies have come into close contact with cultural studies, progressively abandoning the idea that translation is merely a linguistic operation and seeing it instead as a form of intercultural communication. Without a doubt, translating another quotation here, translating culturally centered movies for, he's talking, look at the title again. He's talking about what? Cultural references. So he started talking or introducing the term culture to us as readers in order to prepare us. And it is a kind of a warm-up, check. But if you look at this paragraph here, AVT, now he start talking about the main topic. Subtitling as an audiovisual mode has recently been considered as a key method to facilitate communication with the audience, especially in comparison with dubbing, which is at present another mainstream method. Subtitling, unlike traditional forms of translation, is a process. Now, this is a new terminology, so our new concept. So the author should provide us with the definition of subtitling. What is subtitling? A process from verbal language into written text, etc., and highly depend on subtitling equipment to present or transfer information to its viewer. Now, again, he needs more clarification. He should provide more information about subtitling. Subtitling is seen here as a point of contact and as a culture procedure where different social practices meet in the shaping of oral and written exchange, and by means of which the other is represented. With the restrictions imposed on subtitling in mind, subtitlers adopt different strategies. Like here, this is the aim of the study. Issues, he talked about the issues, the problems of subtitling. Then he started talking about the strategies of subtitling, cultural differences here in the introduction. Subtitlers adopt different strategies in their attempts to convey movie plots or content to target language audiences, thereby creating an interface between culture and technology in the context of translation. Now, this is a justification for why subtitlers use certain strategies or different strategies in order to make a kind of how to create an interface between culture and the technology in the context of translation. Again, look at this paragraph here. Furthermore, he's talking about the importance or the main purpose of the thesis. In the last 10 to 15 years, as Ocknell claims, the number of publications addressing aspects of AVT for children has been increasing. However, very little studies have been made on the combination of these two subjects, i.e. AVT for children. He is telling us why this thesis is important, or what is the aim of this thesis, what is the purpose of this thesis, and he also is talking about the gaps here. Look, the number of publications addressing aspects of AVT for children has been increasing. Now, this is the gap here. Very little studies have been made on the comprehension of these two subjects. So this is the gap in the following studies. When the receptor of translation is as vulnerable to as children, the translator has to be very careful to find. He's giving what? He's introducing the purpose of his thesis to us. To find a balance between the concepts of translation being a bridge between cultures, different viewpoints, a space to introduce new ideas, and the expected aim of audiovisual materials for children within the norms of the target culture, within the limitation of space, time, and semiotic systems. Now, to deal with cultural, now this is the main focus of the study here. To deal with the cultural differences successfully, Baker states that a translator has to be not only bilingual, but also bicultural. As a result, when dealing with cultural references, the translator may opt for a cultural transfer of the reference by using the equivalent target reference, which corresponds to the source language cultural reference to be translated in order to maximize the irretrievability of the intended meaning. Each subtitle has therefore to work on different levels as a unit, as a part of, etc. Now, from the all above mentioned reasons, and as stated by Baker, it seems quite clear that the transmission of cultural values in AVT remains one of the most pressing areas of research. So this is what he's introducing us to the purpose of his study. Look at the last paragraph in his introduction. This study focuses on the subtitling of cultural references of fantasy movies aimed at children and adolescent audience. The main concern is to look at how cultural references in Harry Potter movies are treated in Arabic subtitles. The corpus of this series is chosen because of its huge popularity. He's providing us with a justification for choosing the corpus of the study around the world and the nature of its language and themes, which pose a significant challenge for subtitlers, especially when working between two incongruent languages and cultures like Arabic and English. Thus, this study is an attempt to examine the treatment given to cultural references in the encounter of these two distinct languages and cultures via subtitling. If you look here at this paragraph, in this paragraph, the author provide us with the aim of his study, of the focus of this study. So this is a very interesting example about the introduction. Now, do you have any questions? Any questions? Do you have any questions? Any questions? No questions. No questions? You don't have any questions, guys?
No, Doctor, everything.
All right. Okay, so I think that it is easy and it is clear. Now we will talk about the abstract. How to write the abstract, or what is the abstract? What is the abstract? I'll give you an example now, but before the example, I will give you the definition of the abstract. What is the abstract and how to write the abstract? Now, the abstract in Arabic means al-mustakhlas, right? Al-mustakhlas. Now, al-mustakhlas, how it is, the first paragraph in your thesis. Now let's share this with you. Now, writing abstracts for honors theses. Do you want to make a good first impression? What is an abstract? The abstract is the first part of your thesis that any reader in the world will read. Now, when I'm looking for a suitable papers or theses, MA theses, or any works to my thesis, the first thing that I should do is reading the abstract. It should be short, one paragraph, right? And it should be at the beginning of the thesis, and it should tell me about the purpose of the study, the significance of the study, the methodology used in the study, the data analysis, also the model that used in the analysis in analyzing the data, and a general conclusion. So what is an abstract? An abstract is a standalone text, approximately 200 to 300 words. So it must not be too long. It must not be too long. It is about 200 to 300 words only. That provides a snapshot of your whole thesis. After having read your abstract, your readers should be able to answer the following questions. Now, what? The first question after reading your abstract, I can answer the following questions. What did the researcher do in their research? The purpose of the study, or the focus of the study. Why? What were the reasons for doing the research? The importance of the study. What questions was the researchers trying to answer? Yeah, the purpose of the study, or the aims of the study. Then, how? How did the researcher go about finding out the answers? What methods did they use? Data collection process, corpus of the study, sample of the study, data analysis, the model that have been used in analyzing your data, and so on. What did the researcher find out? What were the key results? The major conclusion that you have reached in your study. And finally, why are these results important? What is their significance? You should state a sentence telling us about the about the significance of your results and why these results are important. Now, developing the abstract for the thesis, there are some suggestions here. First of all, make sure that your abstract answers the questions listed above. Look again. What did the researcher do in their research? What were the reasons for doing the research? What questions was the researcher trying to answer? How did the researcher go about finding out the answers? What methods did they use? Methodology. What did the researcher find out? What were the key results? Why are these results important? What is their significance? 2, concentrate on communicating the facts. 3, try not to make any general statements. The abstract should be the essence of your thesis. And from its name, abstract, in Arabic, مستخلص, أو الخلاصة الدراسة, it must be short. So the information that should be added to your abstract must be what? Must be important, must be relevant to your thesis directly. Don't state general statements here. Try not to include any in-text references. Don't use in-text references in your abstract. Be careful. Don't use in-text references in your abstract. The majority of students have done that, are doing this. This is a mistake. This is a killing mistake. Don't do that. The information in the abstract should not need external evidence, because this is the essence of your study. This is the essence of your study. Does it tell a very short story? Does it have a beginning, a middle, and an end? Now, ways of tying up your writing. Yeah, sorry. These are generally good information for you that may help you in the future, inshallah. Use digits for all numbers except those that begin a sentence. When you start a sentence with, imagine 30, don't write it as a digit. You should write it as a word. 31 students were used or were used as the sample of this study. مش a digit. انتبه. Use the active voice, avoiding the first person pronouns. Don't say that I have collected the data from blah, blah, blah. I have selected. Don't say that. You should use the active voice, okay? Rather than using the first person pronouns. Report rather than evaluate. Now, don't evaluate in your abstract. Use verbs rather than non-equivalents. Avoid phrases that convey no real information. Make concrete, specific statements. Substitute one word for many. At this point in time, you should say now. On a yearly basis, yearly. Delete adjectives and adverbs here. Put the most important information first in each sentence. Now, there are samples of abstracts here. This is a sample, genetic mechanisms and dissemination. We will have a look at an abstract in translation studies. Give me a second. Share. Okay. Sharing an example for you. Now, look at this example. This is a real example here. And you should write the abstract like this. Be careful, guys. So this is the outline of the format that we write our thesis, our abstracts in the future, inshallah. Al-Muhaysin, الفاميلي name, first and second name. Al-Muhaysin Isra al-Mujahid, مثلا. Okay. The title of the thesis, the translatability of Jordanian proverbial expressions related to women as a mother, a sociolinguistic approach. This is what? This is the title of the study. MA, بعدين block, full stop. MA dissertation or thesis instead of dissertation. Department of Translation, Yarmouk University, year 2023. Supervisor, blah, name of your supervisor. Now look at the abstract here. This study investigates the translatability of proverbial expressions in Jordanian spoken Arabic pertaining women as mothers into English. So this is the purpose of the study, directly. In addition, it shed light on the image of Jordanian mothers in the society through proverbs. So this is the aim of the study. 14 proverbials. We should not use digit here. This is wrong. We should write it as words. 14. We should write it as words here. 14 proverbial expressions in Jordanian spoken Arabic were randomly chosen to be translated into English. So this is the methodology. They were classified according to the role of a mother in the society, These proverbs were given to 20 MA translation students, methodology, both males and females, from Yarmouk University to translate them into English. Then the translated data was analyzed and categorized according to the adequacy of translation. بعدين conclusion, the study concluded that the majority of translators provide inadequate translation to this kind of proverbs due to their lack of cultural and social background, which is one of the reasons for neglecting the social meaning. This is the conclusion, general conclusion. Now, after that, you should write the keywords. Keywords, at least 5 words. Translatability, social linguistics, Jordanian, spoken Arabic. Also, there are some words here, proverbial expressions, etc. Okay, so this is an example on writing how to write an abstract. How to write an abstract. There are so many examples, by the way, and you can go to any MA thesis, you may have a look at the way of how the abstract has been written. Okay. Now, we will talk about the format of the MA thesis. I have an example here. Let me share this with you. This is an MA. This is a real MA thesis, which was written by one of my students. Her name was Maryam Al-Umari. This is the title of her thesis: Self-Translation, a Faithful Rendition or a Rewriting Process in Heikel's Ottoman or Fury. This is the title page. It should be like this. Be careful in the future. You have to follow this style. Self-translation, faithful rendition, or etc. The title of your thesis, presented by your name, supervised by your doctor, okay, your professor. Program MA translation والyear. بعدين after this is the first, هذا الكفر page مش هيك؟ بعد هيك بدي يجي عندي table of contents. Table of contents. Now I will give you I will teach you how to do the table of contents for your thesis. Acknowledgements, abstract, بعدين chapter 1, introduction and theoretical background, introduction, the nature of self-translation, biodata, statement of the problem, purpose of the study, questions of the study, significance, limitations, chapter 2, background, self-translation, auto-translation, self-censorship, hindrances in self-translation, studies on the origins of the term self-translation, studies on self-translators over the world, chapter 3, sample of the study, data collection, data analysis, critical discourse analysis, theoretical framework, validity of the study, analysis and discussion, analyzing the data, discussion, conclusions and recommendations, recommendations, المستخلص بالعربي. وبرضه we talked about the abstract. The abstract here, when you have an abstract in Arabic, you have to translate it into what? In English, you have to translate it into Arabic, okay? You have to be careful. You have to be careful, guys. Okay, so let me teach you something. Okay. أنا بس أعلمكم شغلة إنه اللي هي how to use اللي هو table of contents, how to introduce the table of content in your research. Let me have any text from the, just a minute, I'll bring any text. For the matter of for the matter of training. I bring any text. Yeah, let me bring any text here. Now, how to introduce yeah. Imagine this is a text. Imagine this is your thesis, right? And now, imagine this is your thesis, and now we would like to introduce the table of contents. Before start doing this, you have to do the following. Now, this is a title. Look at this title. You should make it heading 1. طيب بعدين هون بعمل دفيت تصليحات مثلا. هذا تايتل 2. لاحظوا هذا تايتل 2 مثلا. ليش؟ لأن هذاك الكبير هذا بده يكون أصغر منه بحطه heading 2. So it should be heading 2. This one should be heading 2 also. Heading 2. Now heading 2, for example. Heading 2. Heading 2. Imagine this is a new one. A new let's say heading. So I go back to use heading 1. Imagine legal translation, etc. هذه imagine, you know, this is 2. It can be 3, by the way, or 4, etc. A title, subtitle, etc. Literary, for example, 2. Yeah. Here. Imagine, you know, this one, for example, technical. Imagine it is it goes under كذا مثلا. لا خليها مثلا heading 2. هلا from technical translation أنا بدي مثلا هذه heading 3 تكون هذه heading 3 لأن هذول جايين تحتهم وهذه هذول كلهم heading 3 مثلا. تمام. هلا شوفوا كيف بدهم يظهروا في فوق. خلصت التايتلز كلهم اللي في الرسالة. I have to go back here to the page after the title page. Go to references. بعد ما ضللتهم heading 1 heading 2 heading 3 heading 4 إلى آخره. الآن بدي أعمل إيش؟ الريفرنسز. الريفرنسز باجي بروح بعمل التيبل اوف كونتنتس ريفرنسز. تيبل اوف كونتنتس بضغط عليها. بروح بقول له اوتوماتيك تيبل 2. طلعوا هون يا جماعة. شو اللي صار عندي؟ عندي تيبل اوف كونتنتس وهياته مرسوم وأرقام الصفحات أو إلى آخره. الآن لنفرض إنه أنا بدي أغير بدي أضفت مثلا sections أو حذفت sections إلى آخره. هذه مثلا صارت بصفحة 2 هذه صارت بصفحة 3. كل واحد مثلا حسب ما بتعرف شو التغييرات اللي بتصير عندك. تشطب تضيف you may add pages you may omit pages etc. يعني depends on. طيب الآن خلصت. بعد ما خلص الثيسس كلها باجي بروح بضغط على التيبل اوف كونتنت بقول له ايش هون. بضغط عليها هذه تعطيني update page numbers only ولا update entire table. بقول له update entire table. لاحظوا انه تغيرت ارقام الصفحات مباشرة تغيرت ارقام الصفحات. طيب do you have any question؟ فهمنا كيف نعمل اللي هو table of contents؟ No questions؟ good. خلينا بس نرجع لشغلات بسيطة جدا for simple things اللي هي في عندي الديديكيشن وفي عندي الاكنولجمنت. dedication how to write the dedication how to write the acknowledgement. Now, how to write the acknowledgement? The acknowledgement طبعا في عندي dedication. We have the dedication and we have what? We have the dedication and we have the acknowledgement. In the dedication section هي بتكون أول شيء بعد التable of contents تكتب dedication. Dedication طبعا هي آسف بعد الcover page اللي هي the page after the cover page. في عندي الcover page, this is number 1. بعدين في عندي dedication الصفحة اللي بعديها. بعدين في عندي acknowledgement. بعدين في عندي table of content. بعدين في عندي الابستراكت. بعدين chapter 1 2 3 4 إلى آخره. طيب الآن الديديكيشن أنت بالديديكيشن هذه it's up to you. You may say that والله I dedicate this thesis to my مثلا my mother, my father, اللي بدك إياه هذه يعني it's up to you. It's up to you. I dedicate this work to my son, to my mother, إلى آخره. ما لناش فيها هذه يعني it's up to you. You can write the one who would like to dedicate this work for. الآن في عندي acknowledgement يا جماعة. Acknowledgement هذه it's very important and you have to include it. You should appreciate or thank your supervisor first. Look, يعني this is a sample. By the way, يعني in MA theses or PhD dissertations, we use the same style in writing the acknowledgement. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to my supervisor X for all his continuous encouragement, direction, patience, professional, insightful comments, and valuable guidance, which have been given to me throughout the course of the development of this thesis. His clear supervision, inspiration, and this is a kind of complimenting of your supervisor. Here you should examine the you should thank directly. You should thank the examining committee. Also, I would like to thank the examining committee, Professor Kada, Dr. Kada, for their patience, professional, insightful comments, and valuable guidance, etc. You should thank other people, those who encourage you, those who help you during writing your thesis, etc. Muhammad, Flan, Ali, إلى آخره. Also, you may Al-Maghrib University for their, you may thank anyone or any entity or institution that provide help or support for your thesis, for you during writing your thesis. Now, I will stop recording.